A massive smuggling ring was busted by federal officials this week.
America, Attorney General Pam Bondi just announced the takedown of a massive Cuban human smuggling operation that charged desperate migrants up to $4,000 each to illegally enter the United States. This criminal enterprise laundered over $18 million through fake immigration companies, fraudulent asylum claims, and sophisticated money laundering schemes that moved millions through Zelle payments and chartered flights. But here's the most disturbing part. They were coaching unoccupied children to lie to border officials, filing bogus asylum applications without their clients even knowing about it.
We're told that they allegedly charged up to $40,000 for each person they successfully brought into the U.S.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This case exposes how human smuggling has evolved into a sophisticated criminal enterprise that exploits our immigration system, preys on vulnerable people, and generates massive profits for international criminal networks. Let me break down the scope of this massive criminal operation that Attorney General Pam Bondi announced this week. This wasn't some small-time smuggling operation. This was a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise that operated like a legitimate business.
This week, Joint Task Force Alpha took 4 major enforcement actions. Right here in Tampa, we unsealed the indictment charging 12 defendants operating a massive illegal smuggling ring.
The numbers here are absolutely staggering. 12 defendants charged in superseding indictments, $18 million plus criminal operation spanning multiple years, January 2021 to June 2025. Thousands of Cuban nationals illegally smuggled in the United States. Charges ranged from $1,500 to $40,000 per person smuggled in the United States, and over $2.5 million spent on flights alone for this smuggling operation.
They charged up to $40,000 per victim. They used Zelle to transfer over $7 million over the course of this scheme, and I believe had profits, cash, of over $18 million.
Attorney General Pam Bondi made it clear this was about protecting vulnerable people from exploitation. They coached their clients, including children who came from airports alone, came to our country alone. They were put on planes for connecting flights, lied to Border Patrol agents due to coaching and law enforcement. The criminal network spanned multiple states, including both U.S. residents and foreign nationals. Let me walk you through the key players in this operation. In the Florida operation hub, Lorenzo Rodriguez, 27 years old, from Florida, unlawfully resides in the United States. Yanel Lima Santos, 30 years old, from Tampa, facing multiple charges, including alien smuggling. Eric Ventura Castro, 23 years old, from Florida. Miguel Alejandro Martinez, 30 years old, from Florida. Emmanuel Martinez Gonzalez, 28 years old, unlawfully residing in the United States, from Florida. Luis Emmanuel Escanlada Marrera, 31 years old, from Florida. Larara Labarta Treto Santos, 31 years old. And Levi Consigliera, 40 years old, from Tampa, Florida. In the multiple state networks, Lianes Perez, 26 years old, from Tennessee, unlawfully residing in the United States. Walbis Pazo Dutel, 30 years old, from Katy, Texas. And the international connections include Mariana Lucy Lopez Torres, 25 years old, Cuba, formerly from Florida. Frandy Aragon Diaz, 33 years old, from Cuba, formerly residing in Tampa, Florida.
Prosecutors say the group used social media to contact Cuban migrants, promised visas through fake European citizenship, and had help to run it like a business.
The ledgers had dates of travel, money owed, airlines used, smuggling routes.
This criminal organization kept detailed business records like a legitimate company. They were running human trafficking like a corporate enterprise. One of the most sophisticated aspects of this operation was their visa fraud scheme. These criminals weren't just smuggling people across the border. They were systematically defrauding the United States immigration system. Here's how this scam worked. False European citizenship claim to secure U.S. entry for Cuban nationals. Hundreds of fraudulent ESTA applications filed in the United States. Customs and Border Protection with fake addresses and fabricated documents used systematically. Bogus visa services promoted online targeting Cuban communities.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi puts it bluntly.
It is not safe for you or for your families.
AG Bondi joined federal prosecutors in Tampa Thursday and announced 12 people were charged this week in a massive illegal smuggling and asylum fraud scheme across Tampa, smuggling illegal Cuban migrants, including children, through commercial airports into the U.S.
The criminals in this case use social media to market their services, creating WhatsApp groups with titles like Processing ESTA and Tours Visas to the United States for Spanish citizens. They posted promotional videos showing stacks of passports, airline tickets, and visa approvals to attract desperate Cuban migrants. They also operated Instagram accounts with flashy ads for immigration services, using encrypting messaging platforms for client communications and creating a professional appearance to legitimize their criminal operation. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of this criminal enterprise was their willingness to exploit children for profit. Attorney General Pam Bondi specifically highlighted how these criminals coached unaccompanied minors to deceive border officials.
The defendants engaged in a conspiracy to bring illegal aliens from Cuba to the U.S. for profit. They coached their clients, including children, who came to airports alone, came to our country alone, were put on planes for connecting flights, lied to Border Patrol agents due to coaching, and law enforcement.
Think about this for a second. These criminals were putting children on planes by themselves, coaching them to lie to federal agents and sending them to unknown destinations in the United States. One case involved a teenage girl who was told to pose as a lifelong friend of an unrelated adult man. The children were provided with coaching on how to deceive border officials, given false stories about their relationship to adult sponsors, and sent to dangerous situations without proper supervision. These vulnerable children were being exploited for criminal profit while being put at serious risk. The transportation methods escalated based on how much clients would pay. Commercial flights for higher paying clients, private planes chartered to move groups of migrants, multiple transportation modes employed based on group size and payment capacity. To legitimize their criminal operation, the smugglers created a fake immigration company. This wasn't just a front, it was a sophisticated deception designed to exploit vulnerable immigrants twice. The fake company advertised legitimate sounding services, asylum filings, work permits, residency applications, and immigration consultations. But here's where it gets really sinister. They were simultaneously running two operations. The first one, they were running Instagram marketing for legitimate appearing immigration services. Second, they were posting videos showing aliens being smuggled on the same social media accounts.
Victor Rudy DeMaio with the Hispanic Democratic Caucus of Florida says he can't give a straight answer to someone thinking about smuggling themselves into the United States. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi puts it bluntly.
It is not safe for you or for your families.
The criminals filed boilerplate asylum claims without their clients' knowledge or consent, then blocked clients from accessing their own U.S. CIS online accounts. They were literally stealing their clients' immigration case while simultaneously smuggling them illegally. This dual operation allowed them to exploit vulnerable immigrants multiple times, first by charging them for smuggling services, then by filing fraudulent legal documents that could jeopardize their future immigration status, and finally by preventing them from access to their own legal cases. This Tampa operation is part of a much larger federal initiative called Joint Task Force Alpha, which has been incredibly successful in dismantling human smuggling networks across the country.
But Democratic leaders I spoke with say this only highlights just how much folks are struggling overseas.
I can't tell people to do it or not to do it. I think it's very difficult. It's not good to pay a smuggler. People do desperate things when they're in desperate situations.
The results of this operation speak for themselves. 410 plus domestic and international arrests of smuggling leaders and organizers. 355 plus U.S. convictions secured through the JTFA efforts. 305 plus significant jail sentences imposed on criminals. And substantial asset forfeits recovered from criminal operations. These criminals weren't just moving cash. They were operating complex financial networks designed to hide the sources and destinations of their illegal proceeds.
DeMaio says with a weakening economy in Cuba and limited access to food and medicine as in other countries, people in dire need will continue to seek refuge however they see fit.
You're going to always have people that want to come here to the United States for a new, better life and to avoid the issues and problems they have in their own country.
But he also emphasized that paying smugglers is dangerous and illegal. The reality is that human smuggling operations put migrants in extreme danger. Dangerous transportation methods with inadequate safety measures, exploitation and abuse by criminal organizations, legal jeopardy that can prevent future legitimate immigration, financial exploitation that leaves families in debt, separations of families, including unaccompanied children. Attorney General Pam Bondi's message was clear. It's not safe for you or your families. These criminal organizations don't care about your safety or well-being of the people that they smuggle. They only care about profit. America, this $18 million Cuba smuggling operation represents everything wrong with human trafficking networks that exploit desperate people while undermining our immigration system. The 12 defendants charged in this case weren't helping people. They were running a criminal enterprise that put children in danger, filed fraudulent legal documents, and laundered millions of dollars through our financial system. The fact that these criminals were coaching children to lie to border agents while simultaneously filing fraudulent asylum claims shows the depths of their scheme. With over 410 arrests and 355 convictions, Joint Task Force Alpha is proving that when law enforcement agencies coordinate internationally and target entire criminal enterprises, not just individual smugglers, they can dismantle these networks effectively. The message from federal prosecutors is clear. They will be found and prosecuted and brought to justice no matter who they are. This case sends a strong signal to other human smuggling organizations that their criminal enterprise will be dismantled and their leaders will face decades in federal prison. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.